Let's see. Where is this intro, my friend? This intro.
Amanda, you do know that when you're on the podcast, they can hear you say count down. They can hear you counting down, right?
They can hear you right now. No, I'm talking about Lamont. Hey, welcome to Three Black Guys with the Mic, the podcast for politics, hip-hop, and the urban community. I'm your host, Spudd, with Lamonte Hayes, my man Maynard Scales. What's up, gentlemen?
What is the deal? What's
really
the
happening?
deal?
We have to start the show off with an apology. I really hate to take this time out to start the show off with an apology. We here at Three Black Guys with the Mic, we really take, very important to the things that we do when we say we are going to do something, and the things that we say that we're going to do for the people who do listen to the podcast. So we do apologize for, that situation. Maynard and I was on board. Lamont decided against it. And so we, decided not to do it. And so we just wanted to say we apologize. It won't happen again, but we're all about all or either nothing. So either all three of us are on board or either none of us are on board. So we are sorry that we weren't able to do it, but hopefully in the future when there is something that we really need to do, that we will do it. And so we just thank you.
This feels like a Mueller ambush. What the hell are you talking about?
I'm just saying.
What are you doing to Robert Mueller? What are you doing?
No, I'm just apologizing for the thing that we said we was going to do that you decided that we weren't going to do. So
and
we said we
that?
were going to issue an apology. You said we was going to do the In My Feelings challenge, and we ain't do it.
I'm not messing with you like that.
Are you happy?
Hey, I'm not messing with you like that, dog.
Listen, the people said, yo, what happened to the In
My
Feelings challenge? And man, that I was down, and you was like, no, I'm not doing that.
I've been learning the steps and everything all
Listen,
week.
after I saw Will Smith, I was like, oh, I got it now. But Lamont was like, no, we're not going to do it. That's some BS. We're not down with that Kiki challenge and In My Feelings challenge. So we didn't do it. We had a couple people was like, yo, what's up? And so that's the reason why we didn't do it. It's all Lamont's fault. So we apologize in the future.
Lamont, can we revisit it in 2 weeks?
It's going to be old in 2 weeks. It's already old already.
I'm about to say it's old now. After about 72 hours, it's a wrap. Nah, man. Right. But no, listen, you got to give a shout out to Will Smith, bro. I mean, because when he came in with the aerial drone shots and I don't know what bridge he was on, because wasn't he like in Budapest or Turkey or something?
Yeah.
I mean, like, how do you, you know what I'm saying? How do you, it should be no conversation after that. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you do? Sit down with Barack, you and Michelle do it? That's all you got. That's all that's left. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, that's the only person who can, could probably, I don't know if there's anybody, I don't even know if Barack and Michelle could either top, Will Smith. I don't know about that. Will Smith, did that thing. All I know is I don't want to hear the Kiki challenge anymore. I don't want to hear that song no more at all. I don't want to hear that song anymore. It's over. It's done. And I ain't mad at that. Do we want to give congratulations out to Cardi B on the baby? Round of applause to Cardi.
Yo, listen, I have a theory. Damn, Lamont, you can't say.
Don't clap. Listen.
You didn't clap?
Did he clap?
Listen.
No.
Listen.
It's a baby, Lamont. Why are you angry at the baby?
Listen.
It's just
the birth of a baby is a beautiful thing. God bless him. But we have more important things we need to be worried about. Because I feel like we're getting, like last week, we really were off the ball with being chatty patties. And we're starting with all of this chattiness, hey, we got important stuff to talk about. And I don't know if it's Cardi B. Maybe you done messed up. Listen, we added a new feature, and and I don't know how this going to go.
Hey, look, hold on. Did you see it? Did you see it for a second? I just feel like Mom's gonna throw a purse over his shoulder, like, I'm tired of this.
That LeBron James purse, he's gonna throw that LeBron James purse over his real quick on the Cardi B, those Cardi B memes. is off the chain.
Baby?
Oh my God, man, that joint has had me cracking up all weekend long. Real quick, can I retract one of my Eddie Murphys? Because everybody got on me on my Eddie Murphy movie and Vampire in Brooklyn.
Because Vampire in Brooklyn sucked. You were way off, dude.
Yes, I got to replace that one with Boomerang. It was on last night, and I was watching it, and I'm sorry, I got to just replace that. So sorry, everybody, that I did not put Boomerang in front of Vampire in Brooklyn, even though Vampire in Brooklyn was funny. It was hilarious. If you ever seen a Wolfman for the 46th Power, that is hilarious. Anyway, let's start the show off with community, ladies and gentlemen. It's very rare that Lamont sends out topics. So when he does, he has carte blanche. He has definitely got the red carpet. So, Lamont, floor is yours.
I'm not ready, bro, but let's just start here, man.
Hold on, it's your topic.
I know. Right. You wasn't supposed to just come to me straight. I'm not ready.
Okay.
But
let's get chatty again.
No. We got to get chatty. Because this is something I saw online, man, and it was kind of, I said last week, and I think the week before, man, is that, as I keep living this life and learning more and more and seeing and a lot of things we talk about and learning the history of, what our ancestors had to deal with and certain things that we're not told, it's like they're really trying to kill us. So here's my
question. Let me ask you this question. Mm-hmm. Who's trying to kill us?
I'm going to give you another example about how they're trying to kill us.
Okay, who's the they? You know what I really want to do? I really want to do a documentary called The They.
Because it's broad. We can talk about who's trying to do it today. Okay. And then we can go back before who was trying to do it before. So have you guys ever heard of the Freedmen's Bureau?
Yeah.
You ever heard of that?
Yeah. So it was a bank.
Oh, no, man. I didn't ask you to break it down. I said, had you heard of it? Spud, have you heard of it?
I have not. I mean, well, after you sent it, yes, I read it, yes.
I'll hit the mute button. I'll hit the mute button.
Right, because this is my part. This is not Maynard tell us what it is. I just want to know if you knew it. So my question or my statement is, I have over the past 3 or 4 days asked about maybe 20 people, and over 90% of the people had never heard of it. So we got this story about us being allegedly emancipated from slavery, right? 1865, right? Maynard, right?
So I was being quiet, but yes, sir.
Just say yes. Don't break it down. So then you had this guy named Abe Lincoln, right? They said, we're going to free the slaves. We got all of these slaves. We're going to figure this out and how to do X, Y, and Z. So then they come up with this Freedmen's Bureau, which of all of these policies that are supposed to help these freed slaves, right? So in this Freedmen's Bureau, that's when they came up with the 40 acres and a mule, and we're going to come up with this thing called the Freedmen's Bank and all this other kind of shenanigans, right? So this is what I saw on Facebook that really made me like, let me take a look at this. So with this Freedmen's Bank, freed slaves were basically encouraged to put money in this bank, which was supposed to be in a 10-year span, about 75 M's, right? In 1865, right? 75 million over a 10-year span. They mismanaged the money. They didn't give loans or do kind of business or whatever with black people. They were encouraged to do more business of the black slaves' money from this bank and give it to white people. Also, I read, because it was illegal, remember, in those times for blacks to own certain things and do certain things. But then you still go back. If you remember, they popped Abe Lincoln, right? Didn't they shoot him in the head, Maynard?
Yes.
Okay. And the people that shot him in the head, that family, was John Wilkes Booth, right? Wasn't that his name?
The person who shot him was John Wilkes Booth, yes.
Right. So then years later, Spud, you knew the Booth family is the ones that sold JLB to iHeart, right?
I did not know that.
Yes. Okay, so let's still go back. Just roll with me. Cause
come on, Maynard. Hey,
no, because Maynard, he's itching.
Go along.
So when I read this other statistic, when I said they're trying to kill us, and from the financial part of it, when Abe came up with the 40 acres and the mule, once they popped them in the head, they was like, nah, we're not doing that. They divided up all this land. They said, we're going to give it to the black people so they can go out and plant some sweet potatoes and some squash and all that. Then they was like, nah, I know that was what we put in the legislation, but we ain't doing that. Y'all just go ahead and have at it. Then we got this whole sharecropping thing. And, you're going to work this land, but you're still going to pay me. It's just all these kind of shenanigans. So then you fast forward, like I said, with this Freedmen's Bank thing, and I'm like, this is just like Bank of America. This is just like Wells Fargo that called us mud people. This is just like predatory lending. This is just like when the housing bubble popped off when they had this thing called subprime loans, which now they have a new term for it in 2018 called non-prime loans. Did you know that, Maynard?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know this. So I'm going to give you this last part. And
Thank you.
Right. And Spudd, this is what I mean about how they're trying to kill us. So
okay.
I'm in Martha's Vineyard, right? I'm at this dude's house, right? This 16, maybe 27. I'm on the vineyard, right? I'm at this dude's house, brother, good brother. Actually, listen to the podcast, so I don't want to throw him under the bus 100%. He's in the banking industry, so I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. So we chilling, we having cheese and crackers and wine, and everybody's this and that, and trying to figure out what we're gonna do for dinner. And I just asked him, like, yo, dog, what do you do? So then he tells me that he's in credit default swaps. Okay. The signal was bad. I couldn't Google that. Maynard, you know what that is?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So I didn't know what the hell that was. So I go back later and I Googled it, and I was like, wait a minute. This is a product that the bank sells that made money when you defaulted on your predatory lending type home loan. I said, wait a minute. So you loan me the money, and then you make money because you're betting that I'm not going to be able to pay the money. And then I said, isn't that how Dan Gilbert got all of his money? Maynard, am I right?
Hold on. I'm sorry, the last part.
Or part, not all of it, but didn't Dan Gilbert make a large portion of his money? You know, the guy that owns the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Oh, you said Dan Gilbert. I'm sorry.
Gilbert, yeah. The guy that bought LeBron James for those many years, right?
Quicken Loans, Rock Financial.
Yeah, the ones that was selling all the bad loans.
Is he Rock Financial?
Quicken Loans, yeah. Rock Financial.
Right, and he did a lot of loans with Countrywide and Wells Fargo that came back later on to, to find out that they gave all of the loans to the mud people. Because remember, that's what they called us, mud people. And it's about maybe 10 years ago. Am I right, Maynard?
Yes.
Yeah, and I know I'm wrong. It's okay. So what I'm saying is from 1865, when allegedly Abe Lincoln was supposed to free you, from this Freedmen's Bureau to this Freedmen's Bank, all the way up to 2018, they have been trying to, or have been successfully financially killing us. So there's another statistic, Spudd, that we had the lady on here about credit scores, which is good. Yep, you should have a great credit score. But there's a study that came out that a white person with the same 740 and the black person with the same 740 still pays 3 to 5% more interest than the white person. Did you know that, Spudd?
I did not know that.
They're trying to kill us, dog.
So what's the solution to they are trying to kill us? What should we do about this, Lamont?
I think part of it is just like, we're going to have this conversation with the young man from the 100 Black Men soon, and some other things that we talked about amongst ourselves is that we got to talk about this. We need to understand that there was a Freedmen's Bureau. Because, again, I had never heard of that.
You're not supposed to.
Exactly. I heard we was free. We was partying. It was popping. Like one day we just woke up and we free. That's
you ever seen the movie Free State of Jones?
That's the one with, what's the white boy name?
Matthew McConaughey.
Yes.
All right. So if you haven't seen that, see that.
Yeah.
But okay,
exactly.
I mean, I think we already know that.
No, we don't. We don't know
that the theys, whoever the theys
No,
are.
No, we don't. No,
we don't know that. No, we don't.
Okay. So now we know, because Lamont has said it, that they're trying to kill us.
You're trying to kill us.
Okay.
And when I say kill us, it's not always about.
So Lamont, can you share with the listeners who we should be looking out for?
Well, I think.
Who are the theys?
The day is when you walk out the door.
Oh, shucks. I got 4 doors in my house.
Exactly, man.
I'm scared.
That's
North, east, west, and south.
From the time when you turn on your MSNBC in the morning, that's part of they. It ain't just Fox, it's MSNBC, and I'm gonna tell you why. Ooh. There's also a medical study that shows that stress and anxiety is a silent killer, right? So when you watch MSNBC, when you watch CBS, when you watching Fox, when you're even having a conversation about Donald Trump, that's stress, and it brings on anxiety. Am I right, Maynard?
Spudd. Yo, come over here for a second, Spudd. Yeah. Your boy went deep. Your boy went deep.
Am I right?
And hold
He's
on.
going a little
Hold
long
on.
today. He's going a little long today.
Right. And that was like 12 minutes.
Yeah. That was
Yeah.
a little...
Yeah.
And we still, I don't know who the they are still.
No, because it's a lot of theys, and I'm just saying once you acknowledge that there's a they, that it's not just all peaches and cream. I'm gonna share this with y'all.
Peaches and
I'll never forget this. I was at Bank of America, right? I had
ladies
like
and gentlemen, look out for peaches and creams. They're trying to kill you.
I was at Bank of America, right? So
Wait, you bank at Bank of America? Did you just say that?
No, not anymore. No.
I was about to say, did you just say that they were a part of the hypocrisy of them killing us?
Well, for one, because there is, because Bank of America is not really the Bank of America, and it's not all over the country. So that was my first issue, but whatever. But I never forget, I had like some bills I was supposed to came out of my account. And what did I do? I made it to where I was going to have a deposit on Friday, so I did the payments to come out on Friday. So then I get a notification that my what's-the-name's bounced. I was like, how can it bounce? I had a deposit. So I called them on the phone. I said, yo, y'all charged me like $35 for like 4 payments, like the light and the gas bill, whatever. They said, oh, well, we take out all of your deductions before we add your deposits. I was like, what kind of sense do that make if you know that a deposit is there at the same time? And the lady was like, sir, between me and you, this is not a recorded line. That's how they make their money. I said, this is rigged. I said, okay, fine. And she waived all of the fees, whatever. But I'm just like, banks are just, along with a lot of other things, it's just, they trying to kill us. They don't have our best interest as a customer at heart.
Nobody does.
Spudd. I need you to meet me over here again.
You know what?
Banks, peaches, cream, everything outside of the house, whatever.
Whoever is outside of your door,
they're trying to kill you.
Your neighbor.
Your neighbor is trying to.
Well, not necessarily all of the neighbors.
The mailman, he's trying to kill
UPS
everybody. The mailman's going up and down the block, just laying stress and heartache on everybody.
But he is.
What? Joy and Reed. Who else on MSNBC?
Lawrence O'Donnell.
Yeah, all of them.
Chris Matthews. Mika Brzezinski is really trying to kill you.
Let me ask you this.
Ali Velshi.
Right. So let me ask you this. And I know it's good to be informed, but
Ari Melber, and that's my man. Right. And he's trying to kill you.
But don't you think we need to turn that off sometimes?
Yes.
Okay. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Because a continuous diet of Donald Trump, it'll kill you.
Continuous diet of Donald Trump.
I have not eaten much Donald Trump. I'm desperately. I have not had it served to me on a plate at this point.
Yes, you have.
But,
we served a lot on this podcast. We are guilty of trying to kill people.
I wonder, does Donald Trump...
We're guilty of trying to kill people?
A little bit, yeah. We giving them support. It's like McDonald's. It's like a Big Mac. Is what it's an extra value meal? Is that what they still call them? Yeah. A Big Mac and a fry and a Coke. Sugar, salt, and food that won't digest.
Damn.
We're guilty.
That's who we are. So, all right. So, one of us is a soda, one of us is a burger, and one of us is fries. Which one is which?
I'm going with the pop. I want to be the pop.
Red.
Can we take a
No. I'm Coke. Gotta go. No, gotta be Coca-Cola, bro.
Can we take a break? We gotta go get Carl Spencer in a minute, and I think we have to clear the air of all of this. Is Carl Spencer going to try to kill us?
100 black men?
100 black men?
I don't think so. Not intentionally. And y'all are making light of this, but I'm just telling you is that what's still is very important is that there's a large piece of the history book that has a whole lot of pages missing. And we always talk about Martin Luther King and Harriet Tubman.
Martin Luther the King.
Martin Luther the King. Y'all always talk about, Harriet Tubman and Rosa Parks. It's just like these particular ones, but it's a whole lot of other history. That's all I'm saying. And again, for me, as we go about our daily lives, I think a lot of people are just not aware of the history of certain things, and I think it's important.
Maynard, break down the importance of the history, because it is important. And I think a lot of times we do get into a debate about the importance of knowing your history and, what and how those things affect you today. I mean, Lamont is talking about the Freedmen Bank. We're talking about, free state of the free state of Jones. We talk about things that, happened hundreds of years ago. But those things kind of really still do, take effect to this day. What is the importance of knowing your history?
Well, let's back up for half a second and to say we're not talking about hundreds of years ago. So slavery ended in 1865. It was just 100 years in 1965. It wouldn't be 200 until obviously 2065. And it's important to note, not as a point to try to call you out or nothing, but a lot of people will say, well, slavery was 400 years ago. It wasn't 400 years ago. It was literally in the lifetime of my great grandmother. And that's an issue because just think about this. A father and a mother raise a child. You raise that child to 18, 20, 23 years of age. And, in my case, with my dad, my father is always, I'm 47, my father's still there for me. He's still giving me these life lessons. But if your parent raised you either just out of slavery or while still in slavery, you start at a deficit. You start behind. And that's 18 years of this child not having all the things that the competition had. Then that means that child can't pass on to their child all those things. And just trying to make that up is just very difficult. Just imagine if we were running a relay. One of the famous relay that we like to watch is the 4x4, right? Where everybody has to run a quarter of a lap. That's the fast one. And if they shot the gun and one team got to start 15 seconds ahead or 18 seconds ahead of all the other teams, do you know what it takes to make that up? It takes lifetimes of just small incremental improvements. And so when a lot of times we have to look at where we are as a people and say, should we be further along in this race? And I think in many instances the answer is yes. Should we be further along in this race? And in many instances the answer is we're probably where we should be based on how fast we can run this race. Because it'd be one thing if when slavery ended, there was no such thing as apartheid in America. And that we had apartheid in America probably up and through 1970, 72. If you really want to break it down, what we see today is a return to apartheid where someone says one of the functions of apartheid was in certain parts of South Africa, they would just challenge you. Show me your papers. And we see that when this woman decides she wants to go to the swimming pool. Show me your ID. That is a remnant of apartheid. I don't believe that you live in this community. You shouldn't be able to golf on this golf course, et cetera, et cetera. So we have to recognize that these things are part of a history that we, not only our history, but the history of how people have received black and brown bodies. Because of that history, we have to recognize the foolishness where it is. We have to understand that what they're doing, the same way that people of the Jewish faith and the Jewish community recognize anything that looks like, smells like, feels like some kind of anti-Semitism, they call it out. They have studies on it. They rally around or behind the champions of their community to root out anti-Semitism. Because there is a long history of anti-Semitic behavior from certain pockets of not just Germany and the Hitler regime, but largely of a lot of America. And if you don't recognize that things have a historical bent and that there's a major piece to it, then what can happen is you can fall into the foolishness of allowing the low expectations of our community to be the realization of of the dreams of our children and our future generations. There's a saying that's, and I don't want to misquote it, but I'm sure I will, but it's something like, what's worse, to aim high and miss or to aim low and hit the target? And if you don't understand your history and appreciate the history, you are likely to aim low and hit the target.
So can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
And before I ask my question, I just want to read this because I didn't put this in there too. I thought this was important. It said in 2018, for every $100 of a white family's wealth, black families only have $5.04.
Okay.
100 to $5.04. And I guess this is a study done by inequality.com, which is a little segment of that Harvard does a study or whatever. But here's my question. This is to Spud. Why is it that I am crucified for saying the same exact thing from what Maynard said, but Maynard is praised? Why is that?
Wait a minute. Don't compare it.
Why?
This is not a competition.
Because you just
to me.
said the same thing. I just gave examples of this Freedmen's Bank that jacked off $75 million in 1865 in a 10-year span. I'm wondering what 75 M's is equivalent in 2018.
Listen, brother.
What?
Why
do I not get the same type of praise that
Maynard
Scales
Nobody's praising
get?
anybody. Nobody's praising me.
Shasbug got quiet?
Let me challenge the conversation.
Listen, brother. You need not be in competition with me.
No, let me challenge the conversation because I was listening to Martin Savage the other day, and he was going back and forth with this black guy, about history, the same exact thing we're talking about, history, slavery, so forth and so on. And the black guy was right. And unfortunately, to our conservative friends, when, they are pressed on an issue, they always go into extreme defense mode. And so his Martin Savage's response was, how long are you going to use slavery as a backdrop for the excuse of not getting ahead? And I'm curious to know, from you, Lamont, how long do we use that as an excuse? Because what Martin Savage's comeback was, look, I grew up poor. I worked hard. I did my thing. I got to where I'm at. Now, the unfortunate part about Martin Savage's, response is that the playing field is not the same. But.
And that's when he said that, what did he mean? And that's, in my opinion, I feel like that's the biggest thing. So I don't think it's as an excuse. It's used as an excuse if the playing field is not even.
Well, I think that, let's take it from a conservative perspective, right? If you're a conservative and you are, if your thought process, and I could be wrong, but this is where I hear what they're saying is look, you guys are sitting around talking and complaining about the things that America or the government or the theys are not giving you. You guys need to work hard, get it, and keep it moving. Now, the unfortunate part about that narrative is that there are so many other layers to that it's difficult to be able to do that. But I always like to challenge the conversation to try to keep it as balanced as possible. But how long do we use that? Because you worked hard. You're from the west side of Detroit. You went to college. You got an actual degree. You've, made great money in your life.
Allegedly, because here's what I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna go back to 1999, and I'm never gonna forget this. When I worked at MCA Records, and I was in the urban department, and then I had someone in the what they call the pop department. And Spud, you know this as well, is that, and we can use this on so many other different sectors. The pop guy, his name was Eric. He was a cool guy. He said, Lamont, listen. We know you're getting ready to do X, Y, and Z, but always remember, I have more money in my budget than you have in your budget. So when it comes time to do X, Y, and Z for Mary J. Blige, I got you. If you need an extra 10, 15, 20 G's for your promotion, no problem. So I never understood that. Like, why is it that his budget is bigger than mine, but Mary J. Blige is our artist? And the old school dude was like, yo, Lamont, that's just how it goes, that the pop department always has more money. The pop station is always funded, or the station, but that department just has more money. So even we know about in radio stations that have an urban station and have a pop station, sometimes the pop guys get a little bit more than the urban guys. Am I not correct?
That is true.
So I feel like if I have the same credit score as this other guy who has, the same exact X, Y, and Z, and there are examples of this, that the guy with the different hue than I have, he gets a better rate. Maynard. Let
me ask you both.
Well, how is that complaining? I'm confused.
It's not a matter of complaining, because I get it, I understand. But why is that the focus? Why do you care about that?
Care about what?
About the same exact thing. Why do you care about if the white guy has a 740 and you have a 740?
Mm-hmm.
Why does that matter? Why does that matter to you?
Because if it's supposed to be a banking institution, I thought it was supposed to be fair. Or just tell me, I would almost rather go back to the colored bathroom signs. So all of the black loan applicants, you come over here because there are a different set of rules for you guys. I almost would rather we go back to that.
But you know that.
Oh, I do?
So this is the thing, though.
I didn't know I knew that. I'm sorry. I thought it was even. I thought you said, Martin Luther King saw the mountaintop. I thought we were, we had Barack as a president. I thought we were all kumbaya.
We kumbaya.
You believe that to be true?
Of course we know it's not, but that's what I was told.
Who's telling you that?
Those people on Fox News said, listen, you guys haven't had a black president. What else do you want?
That's my point. The same thing with Martin Savage, which he's like, yo, you guys are sitting around having the same conversation from the 60s and from Jim Crow to slavery, to now mass incarceration. You guys are having the same exact conversation over and over and over and over again.
Because a lot of the same things are still the same.
We know that. It's not.
So that's why we're having a conversation.
True.
They robbed the slaves at the Freedmen's Bank in 1865.
Who's going to change it?
Well, us? No. If we keep going to Bank of America and Wells Fargo, did you not see the new promo, Maynard? For Wells Fargo, we know we messed up, but this is new Wells Fargo. But that's no different than what they did at the Freedmen's Bank. So that's what I'm saying. It's history repeating itself. So history
always is going to repeat itself, especially when you're talking about black folks being a minority.
So we should just touch our ankles then. What you're saying?
Oh, wait a minute.
You just telling me? Is that what we're doing?
No, I'm saying that the thought process, the strategy should be different in the minds of African Americans. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying, going back to Maynard's point, and I'll let you finish, Maynard. Going back to Maynard's point a couple of weeks ago, or last week actually, we talked about Chicago. We need to want better for ourselves. We need to want to actually do better for ourselves. We already know what they want for us, how they want us to live, where they want us to live. We already know all of that. We already know that.
How long they want us to live?
I mean,
they are trying to kill us, man.
I don't want to say they're trying to kill us. I don't want to say that. But I think that they want us to definitely stay in a place. They want us to stay in a place that has no power, that has no structure, that has no education, that has no self-awareness. Of course. So if you want to equate all that, they are trying to kill us.
And you told us they're giving us JJ's Fish and Chicken. What else they giving us? They're giving us the macaroni and the meatloaf.
Family Dollar.
And the Family Dollar, right, with the cookies.
And the liquor store.
The liquor store.
But we learned this in 93 in Boys in the Hood. John Singleton pointed this out, Boys in the Hood.
I understand that. But like Maynard said, which I think is very important, and I was talking to my mom about this yesterday. My grandmother is 90 years old. She's 90. Still driving a Meyer. Talk about, come on, y'all, I'm about to go get me some groceries. The coupon came in the mail. We still get the coupons, right? So then you got to think about her grandmother. So Maynard, if we take just my great-grandmother herself, you feel what I'm saying? It's like this was not that long ago.
Your great-grandmother would be probably about somewhere between 106 and 116 years old today.
Yeah.
So in theory...
And I remember my great-grandmother, you know what I'm saying?
In theory, your great-grandmother is a direct descendant of a slave.
Exactly. So if we go to great-great... Right, so if we go to great,
it's a wrap.
We definitely in change, right?
Definitely in change, yeah.
We in change, Playboy.
But this is the thing, and because I think you really, if we talk about slavery too much, we give the people we make it easy for people to say, y'all still talking about that. But it's not slavery. It's a system that has existed since slavery ended, through Jim Crow, through apartheid, like I said, that only ended in some parts of the country. It never ended. Meaning this, They wrote an order in 1954 to desegregate the schools, Brown versus Board of Education. There are parts of the country that never desegregated. It never happened. But where I grew up, it didn't happen until the 70s. Mid-70s, the deseg order was like 76, 77. So, and this is the reason why. Well, and this is really...
So, it may not cut you off, but can you break down... No.
I'm trying to break it down.
I know, but 15 but I want you to break down... Can you just break down desegregation? Because what you don't understand is people don't even know what the hell that is, man.
Okay, let me finish.
You got to stop talking down to the people and talk to the people. So go ahead, Maynard. What is desegregation?
Okay. Yeah, Maynard, stop talking down to our listeners.
Right. What is that, Maynard?
Okay, so let me just...
Why you getting all upset and your panties in the bunch, a little thaw? I want you to break it down further.
Because
you hitting on something, but you're not doing that at layman's level.
You asked me questions, and all I said was yes. Can you just be quiet?
You sat over there with a little hissy fit. Oh, I'm trying. So go ahead, Maynard. What is desegregation? What? Come on now.
All right, so Brown versus Board of Education in Topeka, Kansas, and then multiple states around the country, in fact, had a piece of this case. And Thurgood Marshall and Lewis L. Redding were Lewis L. Redding were the attorneys for this case. It's very important that we had something in this country that the rule of law, particularly where schools were concerned at the time, was separate but equal. And that meant that blacks and whites went to separate schools, and the white folks in those communities said, but these schools are equal, so we need not, merge these schools, and then they felt like we don't have to necessarily invest in the schools of the black communities, which meant like books, resources that schools that white kids went to were very well funded, the opposite was true for the black schools. They were very underfunded. And all they had to do in many instances was just write the word school on a building, and that sufficed. So Brown versus Board of Education was an order of desegregation, to desegregate, to no longer segregate, if you want to talk about the schools, to no longer segregate and have these kids go to separate schools. And there were, while that was Topeka, Kansas, there were several instances around the country where these particular cases played out. I'll give you an example. Right here, where I live in Norfolk, Virginia, there was something called the Norfolk 17, where the state of Virginia in 1957 decided that, y'all going to make us merge schools or let black kids go to school with white kids. The state of Virginia shut down school for the year. There was no school. White kids didn't go to school. They were like, we'd rather have... This is the stupidity of it. We want
our... What year was this, Maynard?
57. We'd rather have our kids not go to school and be dumb than to sit them in school next to black kids. That's stupid, right? There was the Little Rock Nine. There was a case where Ruby Bridges in New Orleans, and several around the country where this was going on. What always is very reminiscent to me is in the 70s, in 76 or 77, because people always want to talk about, say, Virginia is in the South, or Arkansas is in the South, or and Louisiana is in the South, George Wallace in the South in Alabama, segregation now, segregation tomorrow, segregation forever. They always want to talk about the South, but it was in the 70s, 76, 77, where Boston, liberal bastion of the North, home of the Kennedys, they were like, no, we ain't having it. And they went to the streets, and there was violence in the streets where, white residents of Boston, of certain, not necessarily Boston the city, but let's just say Massachusetts, in the Boston area, went to the streets and fought, hit, attacked, assaulted buses where black children were trying just to ride to school. Small black children just trying to go to school.
So, Spudd, let me ask you this question, and I'm going to leave it alone. Did you hear Maynard just said that in Virginia, white people said, listen, we don't want our kids going to school with our white kids going to school with black kids. We would rather stay home. Did not we just have a black president that had a House and a Senate that said, you know what? we're going to do whatever it is we need to do to go against Barack Obama, even if that means we got to shut down, was it the government, Maynard? Was that the term?
What is it that you're talking about?
Over what? Over the taxes?
Yeah, I think it was taxes. Whatever it was, I just remember hearing the term is whatever our job is to go against whatever Barack Obama says and if his policies, correct?
Yeah, yes. They shut down the government because they whatever.
Shut down. Sound like the same thing to me, right?
Sure, but
they're trying to kill us, bro.
So what I wanted to get to ultimately was it was in the 70s when northern metropolitan communities like Philadelphia or Wilmington, Delaware, or Baltimore, what have you, Boston as well, where that desegregation order, where black kids were, a new term was introduced called busing, and black kids were being bused from certain populations or certain communities into white schools, and white kids were being bused from white communities into schools that typically serve blacks. Most often it happened the opposite way. Black kids went into white communities. And that upset a lot of people. So if you think that this is 1972, 76, 77-ish when this is occurring, that means that means that the whistle blew for them, or the gunshot for them to start the track race, was in 1492 or 1791 when the first state ratified the Constitution. If that happened for them in 1791, then we didn't get our whistle or our opportunity to start. The gun didn't go off for us until 1976. So that's why we shouldn't just discuss slavery in a silo by itself, because it's been not just slavery, but all these systems that have been in place and continue to be in place. We could look at 1991 when Rodney King is beat by the police and realize, as so many of us know, if it wasn't for videotape, that would be going on a regular basis to this day. It just was videotape that brought that out. No one knew about that kind of police brutality. It was a myth. It didn't exist. Oh, you black people are just making it up. But It's so in 1991, in 2014, a white man can kill Trayvon Martin and say, I was just defending myself against this brutal animal. Even though he aggressed Trayvon Martin, he followed Trayvon Martin. He was asked not to. He said, I'm going to still follow him. I'm still going to go after him. And that means Trayvon Martin's rights just don't exist. And that goes back to, just to kind of feed into Lamonte's piece, because I believe there's something there, that goes back to the Dred Scott decision, that if the black man has no rights that the white man is compelled to respect or honor.
Let's go to a break. We come back.
You saw that sneak diss?
It was a sneak diss. We come back, Carl. It was a sneak diss. When we come back, Carl Spencer from 100 Black Men of Austin will be joining us to talk about how you can get involved in actually helping young African-American men in your community with mentoring. Stay right there. You're watching Three Black Guys with the Mic. Welcome back to Three Black Guys with the Mic, threeblackguyswiththemic.com. Spudd, Maynard, Lamont. We are honored to be joined by Carl Spencer, president of 100 Black Men in Austin. What up, Carl, my man? How are you, sir?
Brothers, man.
I love that shirt, man.
Man, I appreciate it, man. It's truly a blessing to be on Three Black Guys on the Mic. I've been following you guys since day one. And, man, let's just get it in, bro. Let's do what we need to do.
We need to do a shirt exchange, man. We need to...
All day.
Wait. Suburban Black is the shirts that we get paid off of.
Diggs,
we get paid off of.
And I hear all of that, except I ain't seen a Three Black Guys or a Suburban Black shirt on either one of y'all in a minute. So I'm just...
Man, listen, I got a couple of them. So, our fashion designer said we got to wear, button-up shirts. That's what he said to me.
Ricky DeVoe.
Only one of us is out of the dress code. Two of
Ronnie
us
DeVoe.
Yes, I'm out of pocket, bro.
So Carl, talk to me about the car first, man. I love the classic joint. How long have you been working on it? Is it in the streets or talk to me about the car.
Yeah, let's take a step back, man. I want to give a shout out to my little brother Jermaine, man. We've been doing this thing since 1998. We started off low riding.
Okay.
And my first car was a 72 Cutlass Supreme sitting on switches.
Oh, wow.
we just had that passion for cars, man, and we've always done it. That was my hustle when I was paying child support. And so, man, it just turned.
Fellas, that's a new hustle. You just gave him a new hustle.
Brothers, get on that hustle. Go get over to brother the junkyard, buy a car, fix it up, and sell it. You make some good money.
Wow.
But it's been my passion, man. I've been doing it for years. And this is the first car that I did a complete restore, a 69 Impala. It's Lamont's Blue, and I named it after, I built it after Jackie Robinson. That's my hero. And so I painted it Jackie Blue. And, man, I just did the interior, put tilt. I'm about to put an LS2 motor in it, probably sometime next year. And I'll be able to drive it from Texas to Chicago any day.
Nice.
So,
nice.
It's my
so
passion.
talk to us about, 100 Black Men in Austin, the things that you do, the things that you guys do on the ground, and how you got involved.
So first off, man, I got involved through one of my brothers, Malik Crowder, over at the University of Texas. Me and him been buddies. He's from New York. Of course, I'm from Chicago. And he kept telling me, he's like, man, you need to come check out the 100 Black Men. And so I did my research on him, and I realized it was a great organization in terms of giving back to the community, and specifically to young Black men. And so I joined the organization 2.5 years ago. And I was being mentored by the post-president, Patrick Patterson, who is also from Chicago, and he just groomed me. He was like, man, if you want to be a part of this organization, you just need to go out there, put your feet on the ground and do what you need to do. So I started just really following him and just taking the lead. And last year, man, he asked me, he's like, Carl, I'm tired of being president. I want you to do it. And I was like, I don't know if I can do it because a lot of these guys have PhDs. I'm finishing up my BA degree now. And I just felt like I couldn't do it. But he kept saying, man, God is telling me to tell you to do it. And so I just acted. And I've been president now for 6 months. What we're currently doing right now is we're mentoring through Houston-Tillotson University, which is HBCU here in Austin, Texas. It's called the Collegiate 100. And what we're doing is we're mentoring from the Summer Bridge program all the way through college, the 4 years of college, where we're going to start off with mentoring them from day one, teaching them the importance of health and wellness, economic development, mentoring, education, and then also just keeping it real with them and telling them our stories to let them know that, you know what, you're not alone. And let me just say this, brothers. This past weekend was a real good weekend for me. I learned a lot just in terms of Black men, and we all can attest to this. One of our major problems in the community is our fathers and our forefathers didn't communicate with us like they should. When you listen to the brothers that are in prison, they'll tell you, man, nobody taught me how to do this. I learned it from the streets. I learned it on my own. And even we had a mentoring session yesterday at Houston-Tillotson. The young men were saying the same things like, man, my dad just didn't teach me this, or I didn't have that communication or that connection with my father. And so we as men, especially Black men, we got to step up and teach our young men to communicate. And we have to communicate with them and give them that option.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Carl, I think, and as I was sharing with these two gentlemen, and lots of people know that you and I go back. I met you in '99 when I came to Chicago. But your journey has been to being the guy who, as you said, you're working for Northwestern University at the time. You were, hustling cars and doing that thing. But one of the things that people might think, like, you're the president of 100 Black Men of Austin, like, there are people who are in your organization that have PhDs, that you're some, highly decorated person that has all these degrees. I bring all that up not to embarrass you, but to say, like, show the path, show the journey that you've taken to this place in life.
Man, let me just tell you, man, I grew up on the west side of Chicago, Lake and Ashland, and most of you who are from Chicago know the streets. I grew up in a neighborhood. My neighborhood I grew up in, the community was community. The parents and the families, of course, if you did something wrong, Ms. Johnson would get on your butt and then take you home to your mama, and then your mama get on your butt. I grew up in that environment. But what happened for me was I was going to school every day. I loved going to school as a kid. And I remember when I was in 5th grade, my first 4 years of grammar school, I always got these old books. And I kept saying, why do they keep giving me these old books? And when I went to 5th grade, I told my teacher, I want a new book. And so when I realized the book wasn't new, and when I went to 5th grade, I started learning about copyrights and realized that the books were 4 years behind. And so for me, my journey is a little different than everybody because I had to work twice as hard to get where I needed to be. And so a good example was when it was time for me to go to high school, there were only 2 schools in my community, which was Crane and Creek Erie at the time, and both of those were in opposing gangs territory. And I told my mom, I'm like, I ain't going. I said, if I go, I'm going to be dead in 3 months. Because I live on the other side of the street, of the block, they're going to mark me as being a part of that gang. And I'm like, I'm not going. And so it just so happens that year in Chicago, there's a school called Metro that opened up downtown. And I told my mom I'm going to that school. My sister went there. And so I ended up going. And in my first semester of high school, my PE class was softball. I was playing softball, and my PE teacher was like, Carl, why are you here? There's no baseball team. And I said, this is the choice I had to make. It was either come here or be dead in 3 months. And he's like, you know what? No, I'm going to make a phone call. And so he made a phone call to Dennis H. Gully. May he rest in peace. He was the head coach over at Whitney Young High School. And my PE coach made a phone call and said, man, I got a kid over here who will make a difference on your baseball team. Now, if you all know, Whitney Young is a magnet high school. Dennis Gully went beyond to where I didn't have to take the test. I didn't have to go through any of the chains in order for me to be admitted to the school. Dennis Gully was like, I need to get this young man in. And that's how I got accepted to Whitney Young. And so just that blessing alone, I began to play baseball. And from that point, I got a scholarship to go to a junior college in Iowa because I graduated with a 1.8 GPA. And my coach was like, son, you're not giving up on me. And so I ended up going to a small school in Iowa, played there for 2 years, man, led the state in home runs. I was doing my thing. Graduated with a 2.6 GPA, went to another D2 school, Northwest Missouri State, where I was the only brother on the team. I had my teammates calling me out my name, saying the N-word to me. And I ended up having to drop out because my parents was going through a situation. And I was the oldest brother of the family, of the siblings. And so I went home to help take care of my parents because they were going through a situation. And it got to the point where when I figured that my mom and dad were okay, I made the decision to try to go back to school. But I ended up going to Minnesota, trying to go back to school, but I got a job making $25,000 in 1991. And I'm like, yo, I'm straight. You know what I mean? I'm straight. Yeah.
I'm rich. I'm out. Who needs this school?
Right. I don't need school. Right. And so, man, I was making that money, man. And then I met this young lady who just took my world over, man. And she had a son that was 6 months old. And I fell in love with that young man. And me and his mom ended up having my firstborn. And then it didn't work out. And then I ended up having 2 sons in my life. So I started paying child support. Then I got married. Had another kid. That relationship didn't work out. Had another son. I'm paying child support for 2 kids by 2 separate women. So I'm paying 45% in child support for a period of 18 years of my life.
Which is another racket. The child support system is another racket, but that's a story we could get into a whole nother day.
Brother, I'm ready to write a book on it for real.
Let me write you forward, because trust me, I understand. I've been through that.
No, but let me say this real quick. So when in '99 or whatever, I meet Carl and we got to be friends. And one day he said, "Man, I don't know how I'm gonna make it, man." And he showed me this paycheck, and it was like a big number up here. And there was like $25 down the bottom or something like that. I was like, yo!
On the net.
Brother, real talk, man. Real talk. My checks used to be $65 a week.
I was like, whoa. If that ain't birth control for you, So,
brother.
So 100 Black Men of Austin, but really 100 Black Men was this organization that is a nationwide organization with several chapters. Tell me a little bit about the, so to speak, the charter or the message that 100 Black Men tries to bring.
Our main message is what they see is what they'll be. We are a nonprofit mentoring organization based on a lot of brothers who are volunteering their time and their efforts. And then we're a dues-paying organization, so all of our members pay dues into the organization so we can try to give out scholarships, try to help young men, financially in terms of if they need certain things where we can help them, not saying we give them money, but we want to have resources to be able to take care of ourselves. One of my strategies with my organization is that I want to be a sustainable organization where I don't have to depend on everybody or sponsorship to be an operating entity. I still want to go out and get money to say, hey, help us push the narrative further in terms of what we want to do in the community. Just so you know, there's a situation in Chicago that just happened yesterday. And, in the media, they're always talking about all the bad things that are happening in Chicago. But let me tell y'all something. There's the Chicago chapter, 100 Black Men of Chicago. they're doing great things in the community, man. They have a college fair every year, man, when they have at least 10,000 students come. And they're pushing for young black men and women to go to HBCUs or go to any school that they can go to. We try to help them to say, hey, Chicago is just not the only place. You can go to different places to be great. And we have mentoring organizations, and we have the Collegiate 100, the Emerging 100, which is for individuals that get out of college. We try to help them get into the real world of like, hey, you got to go from being a young man to being a man. And you got to go out there and get your career and figure out how to become great. And so that's the main initiative of our organization. We're apolitical. And for me, it's just I give back every day because of everything that I've been through and how, people like Dennis Gully, who brought me and changed my life. And, me and you, man, are chopping it up. When you asked me to come move to Detroit with you, when you was like, bro, you can go get your education. I was like, man, I can't make that move because I got to be a father to my kids. And I just want to tell you, bro, I appreciate you on everything, man, that you extended that to me as my brother. And I've been giving back ever since, man, because now that I've made it to a point where I can be a man and be effective, I'm giving back my percent, man, and I appreciate you.
So, Carl, let me just say a few things because if you said you follow the podcast since day one, so you know that Maynard and Spudd, they don't let me talk that much, so I got to try to get in where I fit in. You know what I mean?
Right.
So first, let me just say a couple of things, man. Is that and my wife would beat me down if I didn't say this. She is a graduate of Francis Parker, which you know, we heard you say Whitney Young. I know a lot of people that actually graduated from that particular school. Very good school, by the way. And did I also hear you say that you were at Northwestern?
I worked at Northwestern for about 11 years.
Okay, yeah. And she has 3 degrees from Northwestern. So the Kellogg spot, the undergrad spot. So, she does the whole purple thing. But here's my question about, 100 Black Men, which I know is an organization that, a lot of people have heard about. And I'm glad you broke it down. But I'm very curious about the history of like, where did the name, was it really 100 Black Men? I mean, was it, were they all in one location? Was it like, because it is a national organization, did it, tell us a little bit about that.
It started in New York with brothers who were like, hey, they were influential brothers who started up in New York, and they were trying to figure out how can they give back to the community. Mm-hmm. And so they started as an elitist group. And from that, they just kept expanding to different cities to say, hey, let's go out and get these elitist brothers because we need to let these young men know we are strong. Mm-hmm. We are educated. We are not what the narrative is being displayed on TV and in the media. And so, man, it's so incredible, man. Like when I go to the national conventions, brothers, it is uplifting, man. I had the opportunity to meet Tommy Smith. I had the pleasure of meeting astronauts. You know what I mean? And it's like they never talk about these positive Black men in the media. They only talk about us killing and shooting one another. And so the 100 Black Men is truly, it started off as an elite group, but then they realized that we need to bring more brothers like myself in who has struggled, but was able to maintain and overcome the adversities to be able to tell my story. And that's some of the things that I do, man, when I go out and speak to the young men. I tell the same story that I tell y'all, man, is that, man, you can do anything. And that's something that the 100 has been pushing to the point where this year, like we're striving. One of our main goals is to make sure we get more people to get out there and vote. Even though we're apolitical, it's like we need to make sure we get these college students registered to vote so we can make a choice. We got to have a seat at the table. And that's another key point that I've learned in this process is that I've learned I have to be more bipartisan so I can have a seat at the table so I can make a change for the better of the brotherhood.
Carl, my man, listen, I really appreciate you coming on with us today, man, and we are excited to try to support you and 100 Black Men of Austin. I would like for you to tell a little bit about how we can get in touch with how those people who want to get their stories told or use 100 Black Men as a vessel for them to get their upliftment. How can they find the website or phone numbers or whatever the case may be?
They can go to 100 Black Men of America. That's our national website to get more information about the national organization. And then there's also individual websites. You have to Google each city, like Chicago, North Carolina, Charlotte, Houston, things of that nature. So you have to Google to figure out what their websites are. But you can get all the information per area because every area has a different initiative in terms of what they're able to do. Like for Austin, we focus more on healthcare, whereas Houston can focus on more tech. and engineering. And so, yes, you can reach out to us at different websites. My website is 100blackmenofAustin.org. You can get more information on us. And then, brothers, man, you can also reach out to the presidents of the organization to get more information about them. I would say definitely reach out to Chicago, Houston, New York to get the real big stories, man. I'm just a small hub versus those big cities, man, and they're doing great things in the community.
Can I say
one last thing, brothers?
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Let me just say that. Let me, because I really think it's important to actually, lead the charge in this sense. I mean, so can you tell men who listen to this podcast the importance of actually either being a part of 100 Black Men, volunteering or either just volunteering their time? Because I think you kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but the importance of actually engaging with somebody who is young.
Yep.
You see these kids out here and we judge them from afar, but most of the time we don't actually engage in them. And they just really want some love and they really want some attention and they really want somebody to hear their stories and the things that they go through and actually, just create some sympathy around some of the struggles that they are going through. And so if you can express to men who may want to get involved or should get involved the importance of getting involved either in 100 Black Men or either any organization, when it comes to volunteering.
First and foremost, man, I'm going to tell every brother out there that's listening to this podcast, young and old, if you don't grab a young man by the hand and pull him up, you're not doing your job. So whether you're a part of the 100 Black Men or if you're just doing it on your own, if you're not contributing back to the community and giving back and reaching back in to help a brother, I don't have time to talk to you because you're wasting your time. And so get out there and do it on your own. And if you can't do it on your own, come join an organization like the 100 and we'll show you how to go out there and get it done. But it's so important because it goes back to what I was saying earlier is that communication is key. I love my father to death. He just didn't communicate everything to me, so I had to learn a lot of things on my own. And so a lot of us have grown up as Black men learning how to do things on our own instead of being properly trained. And so that's why I stress this importance of giving back by telling them the story. Because if you tell them the story, they can say, oh, I can relate to you versus you walk past them and just say, what's up, brother? How you doing? We tend to just not, we tend to be less with our words. And I've become more vocal about my testimony because I want you to know, like, man, I'm telling you, I touched so many lives yesterday just by telling my story to 7 young men. I got 6 phone calls yesterday saying, Brother Carl, man, can you just teach me how to talk to this young lady? I don't know how to talk to her. So we just got to give back unconditionally. Sure. Hey, one last thing. Yo, Lamont.
What?
I got my key fob for the HOA, bro.
Listen, man. Listen.
Oh, my goodness.
Maynard, can you
going
wrap
to
this
the pool,
up?
baby.
Listen, can we wrap this up so we can get to the after? You know what I'm saying? 'Cause there's some stuff I need to say, but we can't pull this out for everybody. You know what I'm saying?
So you going to the pool? You getting your pool on? Nobody's gonna stop you. You better carry some ID just in case, though.
No.
That's what Lamont said last week. That's what Lamont said. Oh, I don't want you over here.
Brothers, I love y'all, man. I appreciate all the hard work y'all been doing, man. Many blessings to each and every one of y'all, man, and I love you for sure.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so very much for being a part of the podcast, man. Carl Spencer, man, make sure you go to 100 Black Men of Austin. I think it's 100blackmenofAustin.org.
.org.
Yeah. And check him out, check out his bio. Great guy, man. Thank you so very much. Continue to do what you're doing. And if you want to get involved either in 100 Black Men, if not, I remember Steve Harvey saying this, and he was like, look, you ain't got to get, involved in my mentor program. All you got to do is go outside of your house and start talking to the kids on your block. It's easy. These kids need, somebody to talk to. And you know what? Honestly, it's not even just about the kids. Some men need some conversation as well. Word up. Shout out to my man, Jason Wilson. He does, the Cave of Adula in Detroit, where he's teaching, boys to become men through martial arts. And I tell him all the time, Jason, you need, something for men because men need this as well. A lot of them haven't been guided and they need somebody to pull them to the side and be like, bro, you need to chill out with all that. But, that's a whole other, show.
Hey, brothers, real quick, have y'all seen American Jail?
Yes, I watched it. Yeah, I watched it last week.
Deep.
Same thing, man. These brothers are saying the same thing. Nobody took the time to talk to me.
Right. Absolutely. So.
It was excellent.
Appreciate y'all, brothers.
Yeah, thank you so very much, Carl, man. Appreciate you, man.
All right.
Hey, welcome back. Thank you so very much to Carl Spencer from 100 Black Men of Austin. We truly appreciate that. Check them out, 100blackmenofaustin.org. And get some more information. Even if you're not in the Austin area, wherever you are, and it doesn't have to be a part of 100 Black Men, just get out there and volunteer. Talk to somebody. Talk to these guys on the block. Talk to, family members. It doesn't matter. Just anybody who needs some help, talk to them, man. Let's get to care or don't care before we go real quick. Bunch of topics that we probably care about or don't care about. Let's talk about, Trump picks Kavanaugh for the Supreme Court. Care or don't care?
I think we should care. I think we should be mindful that, when you pick, this is the real problem to me. When you pick a justice, they get to serve for life. And Lamont mentioned this maybe 2-3 shows back before I think Kavanaugh was picked. But whoever he's going to pick, he's going to pick somebody who's going to serve for, I would say, at least 20 years, maybe 30 years. Think about this. Clarence Thomas came into office or came into the Supreme Court in 1991. He's still there, making stupid decisions. So I care a little bit about that.
Lamont, care or don't care?
Did you all see Django?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
I saw a meme that had a picture of Clarence Thomas and Donald Trump. And then it was a split, and then there was a picture of, y'all remember Samuel Jackson's character and Leonardo DiCaprio?
Steven.
Yeah, and it was just kind of like right there. I thought that was funny. But, do you care? Absolutely. But, I think I'm kind of middle of the road a little bit because, we know they're going to try to, take the train off the tracks. What do we do? We call our Congress people and say, hey, vote this way, but we know what the numbers are. So I don't know. I don't think I care.
The Emmys came out with the nominations. Care or don't care?
That's super don't care.
Hey, Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. Guys, second season renewed. Care or don't care?
I super don't care.
Ooh, gang gonna be after you.
It's okay.
Maynard, go ahead. Care or don't care? They ain't gonna be after you too.
They're
trying to kill you.
Let's see why. But why?
There's nothing wrong with me not caring. I don't care about the Emmys.
Why do we have to be bullied that we have to care about that particular agenda? Like, yo, dog, black people.
Let me break it down for a second. Dude, you know what? In order to save money, I wouldn't cancel Stars. I cancel Stars. I ain't got power no more.
In the middle of power?
No, I'm going to wait till the end of the season, and then I'm going to go ahead and get Stars, and then I'm going to go ahead and binge it, and then I'll come back.
And do the free trial?
Right. So what I'm saying is this. How can I care about Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, which I don't watch, and not even seeing Power? You know what I'm doing? I'm walking around. I'm coming in the office, and I'm going to places, and I'm telling people, hey, I don't want to hear about that. I got to do that for another 6-7 weeks. So I don't care about no damn Queer Eye for the Straight Guy.
LGBTQ gonna be after you, boy. Lil' Kim is set to come out with the 5th album this year, 2018. Care or don't care?
I care.
Stop. Why are you lying? Red Lobster got a new lobster feast coming out in 2 weeks.
Who?
Red Lobster.
This lobster feast coming in 2 weeks?
Yeah, they got the new version of the lobster feast.
Who they going to do with
that album? I'm about to say.
But Maynard, Red Lobster's coming out with a new lobster feast. Care or don't care?
I care. They changing the recipe on the biscuits. I want to give it a shot. I care about that more than I care about Lil' Kim. How about that?
Serena Williams falls at Wimbledon. Care or don't care?
I care. I care very much. I love Serena Williams. When I think about what she's done, I think this is something that people won't cop to. She is probably top 3 greatest athletes of all time, easily.
Athletes?
Yes, absolutely. If you
Athlete or tennis players?
Athletes, she's easily among the top tennis players to ever play the game. But if you give this much thought, if Muhammad Ali, think about the list that ESPN came out with a couple. This was the list that ESPN came out with a couple years back. Muhammad Ali, Michael Jordan, and a handful of others to follow. Like
no Floyd Mayweather.
I don't think Floyd wasn't on that list at the time. No, I don't know if Floyd.
So he's not sanctioned by the mouse, by Mickey Mouse.
No.
Walt Disney.
No, I don't think that. I think that the time that it was, and I say a few years ago, it's probably been more than 10 years ago that they had this list. Serena Williams has 23 majors. The only is one person ahead of her with 24. That's Marjorie Court. So she's dominated her sport. She's pretty much beaten everybody that she's had to see. This young lady that beat her yesterday, Angelique Kerber, she's only the second person to beat her twice in a major. Her only other person to beat her twice in a major was Venus Williams. So with that much being said, she's won more majors than she's lost. She's dominated the sport. She's done so from a very young age to even after mother. Think about this. No man has ever had to be like, damn, I hope to come back after giving birth and be close to winning the championship. I mean, that's an amazing feat by itself. And she's done so in the face of when she and her sister were 15, 16, 17, 18 years of age, being called a nigger, being spoken about in horrible ways, being cursed at, being more or less, well, I don't think anybody actually spit on them, but they were being spat upon on a regular basis on this tennis stage, and she's done so with grace and pride. And, she's dominant in her sport. She is the most dominant tennis player in the past 30 years.
That I would agree with.
She's give me an athlete that's better than her.
Care or you don't care?
I don't care. And just so we're clear, I'm looking at the list, and Serena ain't on here, dog.
She's easily.
Watch this. They have Wilma Rudolph.
Did you watch a special, Maynard, on HBO?
I haven't seen it yet. I don't have any premium channels anymore. They got rid of them.
You know what, man? I'm gonna send you a Fire Stick, dog. Come on, man. I'm gonna give you a Christmas present early. Yeah.
I still got cable. I just feel like this. I don't need all that distraction. I don't need that distraction anymore.
Yo, can we talk about social media real quick? That's the biggest distraction in the entire world, man.
Hey, wait a minute now. We distribute it through social media.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, people just scrolling.
A lot of other stuff is a distraction.
It's like a whole bunch of stuff on there. And it's like, seriously?
But you know what, Spud? I saw a thing on 60 Minutes, and man, you probably saw this too. One of the guys from Facebook or somebody, he said, he broke this down real simple. He said, the purpose of social media is about keeping your attention. And they purposely have it to where you scroll up and down because they did a study. When you scroll left to right, you don't spend as much time as when you scroll up and down. So it's all about design.
They're trying to kill us.
You're trying to kill us, dog. Come on, man. I'm on my Facebook and Instagram right now.
That is the name of this show. This show is They Trying to Kill Us.
What you mean? They trying to kill us?
They're trying to kill us.
Yeah, they're trying to kill us.
You know what? This is show number 82. And in 81 shows before this, it's never been as clear or as apparent what the show title's supposed to be as it is today.
No. We got to say with the three black guys. No,
they trying to kill us? I hope nobody's trying to kill me. I got a lot more to do.
I know, but they've been on the quiet. They listen. If you watching the World Cup or you was watching Sarita the other day, I'm pretty sure you saw a Papa John's commercial, right? So we know he's trying to kill us, right?
No, it's a wrap, my man.
I understand, but Papa John's still out there. That ain't no good for you. That's garbage food. You probably saw a Domino's pizza commercial, or you probably saw a Pizza Hut or something else. They're just trying to kill us, or definitely McDonald's. The breakfast sandwich. Y'all saw the sandwich with the bacon and the egg and the grease sliding down the sides. I said, Jesus. I'm like, who eats that?
Yo.
So then, wait. So then I go to Dunkin' Donuts the other day to get some coffee, right? So my man
said,
they
ain't trying to kill us.
No, they're trying to kill us. So I said, my man, listen, I need a medium hot, unsweet French vanilla, 1 cream, no sugar. My man gave me the sweetened French vanilla with 3 scoops of sugar. I said, dude, are you trying to kill me? I don't want no sugar. He said, would you like to try some of these donut, fried, Hostess, whatever the heck they selling now? I was like, they're trying to kill us, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry at every turn.
Spud, your man is chatty as hell today. Whose man's is this? Whose man's is that?
reopening Emmett Till's case, care or don't care?
I think it's very important. I care. I really, I think, to me, one thing that was a huge turning point in the civil rights era was the advent of TV. If television had existed, we went through a time, something called the Big Freeze, where there were no new TV stations being opened up or started in like the 50s, mid 50s through maybe 61, 62. But as those images started getting out, as newspapers started making certain of those images were shown in London and in France and in Italy, etc., as television stations started coming along, people started saying, "Yo, America, what are y'all doing over there? Y'all, what?"
Kind of what they're doing right now. So the same thing that they're doing right now.
But those images, it's just like the Rodney King beating. That image changed it opened a lot of eyes. And so what we have to remember is Emmett Till was murdered, brutally beaten, and his mother had the courage. She was brave and strong, and she was mindful to say, "We are going to have an open casket because I want the world to see what they did to my son. I want the world to see what kind of animals live here in this country. I want the world to see what kind of horrible and horrid picture this is." And that is important to note. And to bring that up again and to remind people, like, you need to look in the mirror. This is what you did. This is how you behave. This is what you want me to take on being because I'm black and I'm a big person, that I'm intimidating, I'm dominant, I'm somehow scary. But this is what you're capable of on a regular basis.
Let me just take it one step further. It's about justice as well, right?
True.
People got off free, and a woman lied, and Emmett Till and his family suffered because of that, all because of a lie. And that should definitely be addressed. I don't know, Maynard, obviously you're not because you don't have stars anymore, but Lamont, I don't know if you're watching Wrong Man,
yes.
which is another documentary on, stars.
Yes.
And it's so unfortunate how, the criminal justice system and the people in law enforcement, or just people, period, who are part of cases, actually fabricate stories just to get things done. And, that's just sad. And so it's unfortunate that, Emmett Till and his family and the African-American community have suffered because one woman lied and 3 men got off. Like, no. I mean, it needs to have some justice in that situation. I'm sorry, Lamont, care or don't care?
No, I care as well. And, since Maynard said I'm chatty, I got a little story about the Emmett Till thing, is that my grandfather's from a town called Port Gibson, Mississippi. And I remember my mother telling me about when they heard about when Emmett Till actually happened. And they were down south, visiting some of his relatives. And she remembered my granddad saying, "Oh, I got to get my babies out of here because we don't know how this is going to turn out." So, and I was like, "Y'all were there?" Like, not in the town where it happened, but it was like 2 towns over. And it just, like we talked about earlier, like, this was not that long ago, bruh. Like my mother, she was like, I think 10 or 7 or 8 or somewhere around there. I probably shouldn't have said the age of my mom, right? People might start doing the math, right? But this is important. Go ahead, Maynard. Come on. I'm ready. Maynard? Did it freeze? Maynard? Come on.
My dude, what?
You about to take a shot at my mama? I already know you were.
Whoa.
I mean, because you smart.
I am mama free of shooting. I don't shoot. No.
I'm saying you snuck this me before the last break, so I was just giving you another opportunity. I was letting you so you had to sneak and do it.
My dude, get out of your feelings for a minute, all right?
So I care. I got to give me the check mark on that one. I care about that one. That's
in your feelings too much.
All right.
Kiki, do you like
Kiki?
So who is Kiki? Is Kiki that stripper?
I have no idea. I was going to ask you that same question.
Because somebody said it was a stripper named Keiki or Lacey or something. Of course, they're on social media. They said Break bought her some breasts, and that's who he was talking about. But I said, nah. Yeah, some stripper.
Now, if he's talking about Keiki, that...
Keiki. Kiki or Keiki?
Kinky is a totally different. Us?
Yeah.
That's somebody you should ask if you love me.
Yeah. Maynard, are you familiar?
You didn't send us no pictures of her, did you?
No, not at all. I don't send pictures. Look at Maynard. Maynard, you scrolling?
I don't know nothing about that. I don't know nothing at all.
It's Kakey. Google that, Maynard.
No, I'm not involved with that.
No, don't do that. Don't even get yourself involved in that. No, that's a rabbit hole. Don't even take yourself down that rabbit hole. Guys, if you're listening or watching, don't take yourself down that rabbit hole. Kylie Jenner is on the cover of Forbes magazine. Care or don't care?
Super don't care.
Why? Is that not a dope accomplishment for a woman, for a 21-year-old?
I'm worried about what kind of interest rate Deshaun gonna get on his student loan if he need one. How about that?
Yeah, let me tell you something, man.
I can already tell you that.
Ray J. Ray J.
Right.
That's just a gift. That's
Who?
Kim going down on Ray J is the gift that keeps giving.
Whoa. He did go to Pornhub. Whoa.
Hey, this is the middle of the show. We're taping right now.
I'm just saying. I'm saying Kylie Jenner, her comeuppance and her blow-up situation is directly related to Kim Kardashian.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yeah. Yo,
No.
Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Oh, watch this.
No.
When did Keeping Up with is Keeping Up with the Kardashians pre or post Ray J?
No.
What's the first time?
But I don't think that has anything to do with Kylie, though.
It does.
No, I think that I see where you're going. Did Kim's sex tape lead to the family actually getting on?
Yes.
But you got to continue to be on. Just because I give you the opportunity doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to take it and run with it. So it could have bombed. I mean, Kylie, the girl's worth $900 million. That's not a direct relation.
That's
from,
direct. That's directly related to that.
I don't think so.
Yep.
I don't think so. I think that she.
How about this?
Hard.
Let me back up. So I'm sorry to even say it. I'm with Lamont. I don't care about that. Let's keep it moving.
Yes, you do. You really care. Yes, you do. Because you hit off the Ray J and all that. You're not being honest with yourself or the people that listen.
I'm
to
just
this
saying
podcast.
that. I'm amazed. I mean, I wish that Monica Lewinsky's sister could be worth $900 million.
900 M's.
What about Corinne Steffen? Should she be worth 900? Because that's obviously where you're going, right? Should her sister or Sam family members be worth $900 million? That's where you're going.
You want to be worth at least 9 after which Corinne Steffens. I was about to use her other name, but after what she's been through in the industry, you think that she would be worth maybe 90 for all that she put down.
Now on the quiet, they got her down at 3.5, so that means she might have 1.5. Maybe. But I always tell everybody, if you have $100,000 times 10, that's $1 million. So that ain't really like it's a whole lot of paper. You're not getting an apartment in Brooklyn for 1.5. So that's still an apartment. So in certain parts of the country, that ain't a lot of paper. But you're right. And what did Corinne Steffen do differently than Kim Kardashian?
Wrong people.
Too many people.
Well, no, I don't want to say too many people because I'm sure, I mean, if you look at it, I mean, the only other issue is that the one who came out the right way, right? It's not like Corinne Steffens did not have videotapes, right? It's just that the people who actually got on the wrong way. She just did not have. She didn't go to what's the place? Vivid. She didn't go to Vivid and say, "Yo, it's me and Mr. Marcus,
yeah. Gotcha.
me and Mr. Marcus, or it's me and LL."
Well, the other part is
it's me and such and such. Who did she name in the book? Shaq, Method Man, right? She didn't go to Vivid and say, "Yo, it's me." And let me just say,
it's getting messy again. It's getting messy. Now I want you to clean this up, Spud. Yeah, you're the man in the center. I want you to clean this up. You're in the center.
No, these are the conversations that do need to be had, because I never thought of it. Spud really is right. Kim Kardashian and Corinne Stephan really are the same.
Okay, you got another care or don't care?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I mean, why are you afraid of these kind of topics, Maynard? I mean, you want to pontificate about all these other things. Why can't we just be regular on this podcast? I'm just curious. Why?
I mean, because that's the deal. The deal is.
Wait a minute. Let me say this. Lamont, first of all, I don't appreciate you coming at me like that. I've been regular. I've been on the Metamucil with fiber husk, with a psyllium husk for weeks now. I've not had any problems.
Can we talk about the husk? What is that?
I don't know exactly what the psyllium husks are, but I'm gonna tell you what.
It works.
It's an excellent digestive additive that makes your I lost 4 pounds as a result. Let me just say that.
But is this our new sponsor? He's just trying to introduce it to us.
What, the Metamucil or the
Metamucil?
Yeah, it's Metamucil for old folks. Metamucil with psyllium husks in it, so it's all mixed in. It's all together.
Okay. Well, let's get back to Corinne Stephan, because this is important. I think we can talk about it.
Goodness gracious!
I'm just saying she transitioned from a video vixen, correct? And then she came out with these tapes or whatever, and I just want to know, why is it that she didn't ascend to the same heights as Kim Kardashian?
I think she went the wrong way, right? And I'm gonna bring this full circle, right? I mean, and again, I'm so sorry to go back to the chatty patty.
Why are we sorry about this? It's a fucking podcast.
I know, right?
All right, hold on. Y'all can have that.
Book, she wrote a book. Right? And the book did very well. I'm sure that's the reason why you looked up her net worth, which is worth, $3.5 million.
Right.
The other part of it is that, there was no leverage in the situation. After you read the book, now this is before, Kim Kardashian. So there's not that much social media. The internet wasn't really popping, then. So she wrote the book, but there wasn't any after effect. And so then after, she wrote the book, and I think she came out with a second book. The second book didn't do very well. But this goes back to, the killing us, part. And your wealth part, your wealth part of where the white family is worth $100 million and the black family is worth, $5 or whatever the case may be, $100 million and $5. The leverage in that situation, when you talk about Kim Kardashian and Corinne Stephan, is totally different, because everybody saw it, and that did make her an opportunity. So then here comes Kris Jenner, the white woman, who comes in and says, hey, look, here's a deal. We got this family history, and we got this OJ backstory. We got this, Rob Kardashian backstory. You let us get a show. Boom, they get a show. It blows up. They make them millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. I think that, one of the things that African Americans, black folks, whatever it is that you want to call it, need to do is to step our leverage game up.
Or get the right pimp? Are you saying she didn't have a good pimp
in
the situation?
If you want to call it pimp, I don't give a damn. I'm going to call it mouthpiece. I'm not going to call it pimp. But if you want to call it
representation.
You need a mouthpiece, right?
Wait a minute. Slow down, lady.
No,
after discussing, Spudd, you have to understand how that sounds. After discussing Corinne Stephan and Kim Kardashian with Ray J, would you say mouthpiece?
Okay, I'm sorry. You need a representative, right? Okay. You need somebody. It's like Lamont. Let's go back to you, right? If somebody comes off the street and they hand you a record and they say, "Yo, I want to go in. I want to talk to the program director." What you gonna say?
No, that's not the way that's done.
That's not the way it's done.
No, man. No, this is hijack time. Nope.
No, that's not the way it's done. You know why? You don't know how to speak the language. You don't have the relationship with the person. So I need to go in and get you the best leverage possible, because you don't know what you're doing. Right. And there's not enough people out there representing African Americans in a way to be able to get them to the next level. That's my thought. So are they trying to kill us? Yes. But at the same time, there's a lot of blame on us as well. And there's a lot of things that we need to do. There's a lot of things that we need to do. And my philosophy about that whole thing is look, we already know that. We know that. We know that they want to kill us. We already know. So we got to play the game differently. Play the game differently.
Yeah, but Spud, I think there's still some younger people that they don't know that. There's a segment.
Going back to Carl Spencer's, conversation, that's the reason why you got 100 black men. That's the reason why you got this podcast. It's the reason why we go out. It's the reason why Maynard reached out to Carl when he was younger and said, yo, if I'll help you come to Detroit, so forth and so on. That's the reason why you got to do this. The reason why I go into the prisons and talk to them. You got to have those conversations. The sad part about it is, and I don't even want to say I blame, but I really am disappointed in like a TV One and, BET, because I think that there should be more programming that is diverse. Everything is just not about fighting and drama and all that other stuff, man. It's ridiculous. But a lot of it is on us as well. And unfortunately, because we don't have the resources, we fed into a lot of the things that they have fed us, and we haven't fought back in the right way.
Okay.
You happy now, Maynard? You good?
I'm good. I'm excelente, my man.
I mean, you were sending us direct messages, so we want everybody on the podcast to know what you were sending us. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay. Yep. You snitching? That's what you're doing these days, Lamont?
Yep.
You out here dry snitching?
You threw me under the bus on the last break, so I had to at least throw one back at you.
Nobody saw me do anything to you. I didn't do anything to you.
That was sneak diss. Can we go back to the tape, Spudd?
No.
It was a sneak diss.
It was a sneak diss. Okay. And it's cool. Where we at? We at 82? You've been dissing since like 7.
Yo, no, cool. Actually, it was the opening of the first show.
Actually, it was open. All right, I'll take that. I'll try to give it a little bit of...
You know what? I'm sorry. You might be right. Because the opening of the first show wasn't even a sneak diss. That was
It was straight on diss?
Hardcore, bow, guard your grill type. Protect your nut, Wu-Tang style.
Okay.
You got a cactus or no? Are we out?
Everyone knows this. The cactus goes to your mans and them up there in, 4-5, D Trizzle. Donald Trump, there's so many reasons why you deserve the cactus this week. They have indicted 12 Russian military people. There's no longer, for instance, some 400-pound man somewhere in his basement in New Jersey. It's no longer, it could have been this person. They indicted 12 people by name. They got their names. And then you want to have a meeting with Vladimir Putin by yourself?
Well, I'm sure that's pretty clear. Sorry to cut you off, but the reason why he wants to have that meeting by himself.
But this is the thing, and I'm gonna make this very short and sweet. When you stand up there on January 20th to take the oath of office after winning the presidency, you swear to uphold, defend, and protect the Constitution of the United States. When someone comes in and spies on us, spying is one thing. They're going to listen. That's going to happen. We listen to other countries. We got spies in there doing things. They got spies in here doing things. When they actually seek to essentially change how our democracy works, you as President of the United States swear that you're going to put an end to that you're going to do everything you can within your power to see that doesn't happen. But you haven't done that, Donald Trump. And as a result, that's actually treason. That is treason. Not the whole idea. There's so many pieces that are treasonous. Asking Russia to go ahead and hack Hillary Clinton. It's kind of treason. Deciding that you were going to fire Comey. That's obstruction of justice. The next day, you gave the Russians intel on your desk in the White House. It's kind of treasonous. There's so many other pieces to this. And I'm sorry. It'd be one thing if somebody accused you of cheating on your wife with this woman. And you like, I don't know that woman. I ain't never seen that woman. And the picture comes out and you're with that woman. But you stay away from that woman for the rest of your life. No, Donald Trump, you just going to go like, I'm going to take this woman out to dinner. I'm going to hang out with this woman. I'm going to talk about this woman. I'm going to spend time with this woman. Yo, my dude, if you did something, you did it. If you didn't do it, you didn't do it. But when you've been accused of something, when there's all this speculation about this thing, please at least give us the impression that you halfway care. But maybe what Lamont's going to probably say is, Donald Trump don't care. He out here winning. So for that, Donald Trump, take some cactus, warm it up, have it tonight with your borscht or whatever you eat over in Russia.
You're right. I did sleep with that woman. You're right. I did sleep with that woman. I did. But I just sleep with her. I love you.
I love you. Eddie Murphy.
Hey, listen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
If somebody could give me the hookup on those blow up joints.
The car dealership joints?
No, on the Donald Trump.
The blow up baby. The blow up baby with the cell phone.
Can I buy some of those wholesale so I could, put those out for Halloween? I want to sell those in America for Halloween.
We're going to get some on 3blackguyswithamic.com. That's where you can get T-shirts and cups, mugs, koozies, all that kind of stuff, phone cases, and soon to come, Donald Trump blow-up doll. Donald Trump blimp.
All right, we out, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so very much for listening or watching this episode of Three Black Guys with the Mic. Share it with some people, please. At least 3 people. Share it with some friends of yours and ours, and we'll do it again next Tuesday right here on Three Black Guys with the Mic. Peace out.